It's not a book of God. The rabbis made it up. It's culture, it's developed like any other culture in the world. Just because people made a culture and it's a result of, 2,000 years of everyone inventing something new, I have to be a fool like everyone and follow it and give up my desire and my pleasure and my plans and my business and whatever. I'm going to bind myself into the rules of this book just because somebody, 2,000 years ago decided to write it. Makes sense if it was true. But it takes exactly 5 minutes to prove that it's not true, this claim. It takes exactly, to a clever person, 5 minutes to prove that a human being can never write even 1 page in a Torah, no matter any kind of human being. Albert Einstein, billion Albert Einstein combined, with all the money and all the technology and computers and any software you can think of, and even give them 70 years to be together in the same place, they won't be able to write 1 page from the Torah. If you knew how many secrets in each page of the Torah, you pull your hair off. You know why? Because you would realize, how can we be so ignorant and make up so many false claims against the Torah when we do not even understand 1% of the Torah? I always ask in my lectures, anybody ever read the Torah once in his life from the beginning to the end to understand the simple meaning of the words before you come to criticize it? And I have been speaking for 16 years, more than 4,000 lectures, and never found one secular Jew, not Israeli, not Russian, not American, none, that ever read the Torah carefully. I'm not talking about the secrets, the codes, the numeric values, the midrashim, the secret, the story behind the scene. I'm not talking any of that. That's already the next level. I'm talking kindergarten level, pre-1A. Like they teach the kids in yeshiva, 5 years old, 6 years old. To this level, to understand the meaning of the verses, not even one person so far I found that did it. And I found thousands who have such lectures against Judaism, against God, against the Torah, against His existence, challenging, debating, and they don't have an idea what they're talking about. What is it like? Like a person who comes to a convention of brain surgeons, all the top surgeons from all over the world combined in one place, and they're not thinking about the new technology and the equipment that they just made up, how it's going to affect the surgeries, and every surgeon come and give a speech, and then this vegetable guy from the booth in the market gets up in, he comes in and says, excuse me, attention, all of you are fools, you have no idea what you're talking about, this is not the way to operate on the brain, you should do it that way, here is my drill, take this, take the hammer, take the screwdriver, this is how you do it. Right away they will know that this guy has no education. He has no idea how a brain looks. So when they ask him, tell me where you got your education, are you a doctor? Do you know even what an Advil is? Before you come to give us lectures about the brain, they'll kick him from the window. Or they call 911 to put him in a mental institution. But when it comes to the Torah, everyone does it and get away with that. Nobody ever was put in a mental institution for coming and challenging something that he has no idea what it is. Why? Because evil inclination is involved here. We are not talking now any other knowledge. It's a matter of you prove your point or not. Here you can prove your point 1,000 times and the person still refuses to accept it. In psychology it's called cognitive dissonance, which means when Albert Einstein found what he found, even though he got all the credit for it, and there's no doubt he was a very, very smart person, but none of the things he discovered was really a discovery. Any Jew who knew the Ramban, that lived 700 years before Albert Einstein, saw that the Rambam wrote everything he discovered in his books already. That nobody in colleges give credit to Rabbi Moshe ben Nachman, the divine Kabbalist from Spain, that lived 750 years and had debate with the top priest in Spain at that time, and had to escape Spain to Israel overnight because they wanted to slaughter him after the embarrassment he caused all these priests about Christianity. And he was a huge rabbi. He wrote a very important book. It's called Sha'ar HaGmul, describing the next world, what's going to happen to the soul after it leaves the body, and heaven and hell and all the other things that we heard about. Everything is described in detail in his book. Not every person can write books like this, you know. So someone like him, he doesn't get credit in any college. Rambam, however, in Washington, you have a statue of the Rambam. It's one of the 18 most influential people who ever lived. Rabbi Moshe ben Maimon. Maimonides. In Brooklyn, you have a hospital called Maimonides. Why Rambam is famous? Because among all his other things that he was a specialist, a mathematician, an astronomist, a scientist, a doctor, he was also a rabbi, which is the main thing about him. Everything else that he did came from the Torah. Without the Torah, it would be nothing. So they give him credit. Even in Israel, you have many streets Rambam, schools Rambam, hospital Rambam. And almost every secular Jew in Israel knows there is Rambam. They don't know exactly who he was, but they know he was an important person. I always say, if they knew in Washington that Rambam, there was probably about 100,000 rabbis prior to him, which each one of them is just as good as him or even higher. They had to fill up Washington with statues of rabbis all over Washington. But they only knew about Rambam because he was, by the way, a doctor, famous doctor, so they gave him credit. But if you only knew every rabbi who mentioned in the Talmud, the levels in medicine, the level in knowledge, in astronomy, there's no words to describe the level of these people. Every person that his name is mentioned in a Talmud by his name, we have a tradition, we know that he was able to take a dead person and bring back his soul back into his body and bring him back to life. With the knowledge of the secrets of life that they had, this rabbi, the Tanaim and the Amoraim, they were in level of Mechayemetim. The Talmud brings few stories of people who died, and the rabbis that there were bringing the soul back into his body and bringing him back on his feet. This is the level of rabbis we had 2,000 years ago in Babylon and in Israel, but of course they don't get any credit in the colleges because nobody ever heard about them. So let's continue. The Vilna Gaon, he writes about the gate in heaven. The highest gate, the highest level of spirituality, of course, is the Torah, the book of God, all the knowledge of God. What is the second subject who come almost as high and can influence a person almost as good as the Torah? The answer is music. Music. What's music? The Vilna Gaon writes that there is a part in the Zohar, in the Kabbalah, that no Talmid Chacham, no great scholar can understand unless if he know the secrets of music. All the great musicians you know in the world, all these great guitar players, the classical musicians, all the famous names who sell hundreds of millions of records, all of them don't even have any idea about the secrets of the things that they do all their life. They only know how to play great guitar or violin or drums, whatever they do. But they don't know the spiritual secrets of music. Almost no Gentile in the world has an idea that music is a whole entire Torah by itself. Can learn hundreds of years to know the secrets of the music. In Bet HaMikdash, in the temple, we are in a free regalim. Every Jew 13 years old and older had to come to Jerusalem and celebrate there for the 7 days of the festival. Besides eating a lot of barbecue, and Jerusalem smell like a restaurant, shish kebab restaurant, the whole entire area. If you like the smell, so then you know how great it is. If you don't like, fine. Besides that, everyone who came into Bet HaMikdash, when they listened to the music of the Levites, the Leviim, the Gemara says, even when a person was a sinner and he brought a sacrifice to repent for his sins, a part of the ceremony was that the Leviim, the Levites, used to play such music that even the most wicked person, the most stubborn person, the person who really, it's very hard for him to admit that he made a sin and to break his heart in front of God, just by listening to the music right away, he made him righteous automatically, that his heart was right away surrender in front of Hashem. This music had influence all over around Yerushalayim, without microphones, without speakers. There was no electric yet. People far away, just in the area by the airport. If you ever went to Israel, the airport from Jerusalem is more than half an hour of driving with a car. The music was like flying by a miracle, the people to hear the music that comes from Yerushalayim. All the Middle Eastern music that you hear, for those who like this kind of Persian or Arabic music or Indian music, all of them is stolen from the music of the Leviim who used to play in Bet HaMikdash. This was the most famous orchestra in history, and especially at that time in Israel. All the Goyim who used to come and bring sacrifices to Yerushalayim, among them all the famous kings. This is what David HaMelech writes in Tehillim. Everyone came and got shocked for seeing the beauty of Bet HaMikdash. They were listening to this music and then go and imitate it in their place. And 2,000 years later, you have their beautiful music, if you know what I'm talking about. So, speaking about the event that we have today, in the Karli Bach Shul, which was an amazing musician, and Rabbi Nachman Breslov also was great into the chokhmah of music, and we are in a regalim that music play a great role here. I would like to tell you a story in the name of Rav Shlomo Karlibach. Probably some of you heard that before, but that's very interesting because that will connect me to my last subject, speaking a little bit about Sukkot before we finish. So one time Rav Shlomo was on a plane almost every week. He was going from one concert to the other, and his music made a lot of people starting to ask questions about Judaism. Because you know how it is, mitoch shelo lishma ba lishma. He came to hear beautiful songs and ended up hearing a little bit words of Torah and getting a book and purchasing a CD or whatever the case was, and later today's a rabbi. Thank you. So, one time he was on a plane and he saw the Studerhurst. Her name is Kathy, and Kathy is not, Kathy is not a Jewish name. And he saw that in the middle of the flight, she goes on the side and pray Tfilat Shmona Esrei. She daven Amida like this. She has a siddur. You see her on the side, in the middle of her job. He was very surprised. He realized that she's very nice to him the entire flight. And he didn't know. She said, well, some of these Gentiles are extremely nice. Maybe she's nice to me. Maybe she knows I'm a rabbi, so many Christians have respect to Judaism. Maybe that's the reason. Then he asked her, tell me, I saw you praying the Jewish prayer. Are you Jewish? She said, no, I'm in the process of converting. And they started to talk a few minutes, and then she said that she has a Jewish boyfriend, that they want to get married. She's converting right now, but the parents of the boy, of the guy, are against this marriage. They would not let it happen. They fight with him day and night. It will never happen. We are Holocaust survivors, and we will never let our son marry any